To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave parapeeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is Shawn Whittington's Paranormal Ministry Live 2.0. I'm your host, Father Shawn. I'm an ordained priest with the United States Old Catholic Church, and I'm coming to you live from my haunted house, my very haunted house where I live. I'm back from my retreat, and I'll be doing a show pretty soon here all about that, and I'll fill you guys all in. But it was an amazing experience, and I'm glad to be back, though. I also hope all of you survived St. Patrick's Day. That's always a huge day for me. So, what else do I want to say? If there's anything you want to know about my wife and I and our ministry work, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. If you go there to visit, keep in mind my wife and I don't charge for our ministry work, helping people with their paranormal issues. So, having said that, if you go there and you notice the donate button and you're able to do so, click on it and send my ministry in a small donation. I promise you it'll be appreciated from the bottom of our hearts, and trust me, we'll put it to good use. Everything's there. My books, if you get them off the website, they come autographed and closed in a house blessing kit, and proceeds from book sales go to support stjude.org, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, Nevada, and the ASPCA. You can also get the books a little less expensive at Amazon. And my course is there, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare, if you want to enroll in that. And there's also a place there where you can make an appointment to speak with me about your spiritual issues. Not paranormal, but spiritual. Okay, that's my song and dance. We got a great show today, but you all already knew that. That's why you tuned in. My guest is in the green room. We're going to bring her out as soon as I can. But what else is special about Fridays here is I've got a co host on Fridays. So without further ado, please welcome to the show my friend, owner of Stellium Books, my publisher, Annette Munich. What are you doing? Did you mute your mic?
I did mute my mic.
There you go.
And I just said that to Zach. I said if I'm not talking for a while, I mute it so nobody can hear me breathing, and then I try and hold it so I remember. But I want to say congratulations. And we've been friends for a while, and I know that you studied so hard for so long, and finally your day came and you got to be ordained, and that's just absolutely fabulous. And I forgot to mail it, but I bought you this really nice card.
Oh, cool.
Congratulations.
I will be looking forward to, and don't forget to enclose money.
Of course, it's got a waterfall on the front. It's really nice.
I
I
appreciate
yeah, I'm just congratulations. Just so cool, that your father Sean. That is very cool. A lot of hard work. I saw some of the pictures. They're lovely, wonderful.
and I'm sure more will start to surface. There were a lot of people there doing a little bit of filming and some pictures. They'll start surfacing, and as they do, I'll share them. But yeah, it was good. It was an amazing experience, a life changing experience. I couldn't begin to adequately put it into words what that weekend was like, but amazing. And so now the next chapter as Father Sean is going to begin, and we'll see what happens there. I'm performing mass here in my home every morning, and it is what it is. It's just I did work hard. I'm going to pat myself on the back.
You
I
worked very
There were
hard.
times where I didn't think it was going to happen, and then when it happened, it almost feels like it's going to happen too soon. It seems so far away in the beginning, but then when you're finally there, it seems like, oh no, am I ready? But you know, God has a plan, and you just go with it, and it is what it is. So thank you for all your kind wishes. You called me a couple of times while I was down there, and that was very nice of you. So thank you very much. Tell you what we'll do right now. Let's check the prayer urn. This thing was overflowing when I got back, so it'll be easy for me to get one right off the top here. Julie D from Washington. I'm Catholic, but I feel I have lost a little of my faith. Oh no. looking to get it back. Advice? Question mark. Got a prayer for that? I do, Julie. I do have a prayer for that. I need one, she says. Okay. And you know what? You're in luck because I never get tired of sharing this prayer. It's my new favorite prayer from the Saint Benedict's prayer book. And so I'm going to share that. I'm going to offer that up for Julie, for everybody else out there searching for God. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. O Lord my God, teach my heart this day where and how to see you, where and how to find you. You have made me and remade me, and you have bestowed on me all the good things I possess. And still I do not know you. I have not yet done for which I was made. Teach me to seek you, for I cannot seek you unless you teach me, or find you unless you show yourself to me. Let me seek you in my desire. Let me desire you in my seeking. Let me find you by loving you. Let me love you when I find you. Julie, please keep me posted on your journey back home, okay? And anything I can do to help you, I will. And now let's check the mailbag real quick. That I've been in once I've gotten back. Oh, there's one. Okay. Andy C. from Canada. Canada. I'm a paranormal investigator and help a lot of people with ghosts in their homes. Do spirits always have to be crossed over? In my humble opinion, I'm just going to throw it out there. I believe so, yes. They're not of this age or of this dimension anymore. And I believe the longer they hang around, the more malevolent acting they kind of start to become. And it's also, people don't realize this. Spirits don't mean to do it sometimes. Sometimes they do mean to do it. Many times spirits don't realize that just kind of being around people, it zaps their energy. So people start to, have illnesses and be run down all the time and no motivation. It can really zap them. They're like energy vampires. And sometimes I don't think the spirits even realize it. So, you know what? I may even save that question for our esteemed guest today. That I don't know if that's in her wheelhouse, but do you have an opinion on that?
I think some spirits, if they, well, I've said to people that if, you can make out kind of a workable relationship where they understand that not to scare you and not to this or that, but ultimately they should move on. That's the correct thing that should happen, and not to be earthbound. And but
Absolutely. I
sometimes things just are around us and they really don't mean us any harm, but like you said, it can sap your energy. It's not easy living under that kind of a situation and scenario. So
absolutely I agree
we're
100%.
not meant to hang around forever. We're not meant to do that.
Well, I know you're excited about my guest today, so am I. It's my first time meeting her. It's her first time on the show. I hope she has fun because I know you and I are going to want to have her back.
We will.
So I'm going to go ahead and bring her out. She is a medical intuitive clairvoyant. I don't think I've ever had one of those on the show before.
I'm so
Um,
excited.
I am too. She is also known as soul healer. I love that. So, brothers and sisters, the ones of you that have tuned in, you tuned in for her. So you all know her, you all love her. Please give a big Paranormal Ministry family welcome to the one and only Dr. Rita Louise.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Dr. Rita. It's so
Now
great to have you here.
I'm gonna let you two gals chat.
But wait a minute, I have to say something first. So, Shawn, aren't you going to like burn in hell, like doing like ghost stuff and being a priest at the same time?
This is what I tell people. I am who I am. I've been a Ghostbuster since I was about 10 years old. I was baptized Catholic. I was in Catholic schools till probably fourth grade. Um, And then I went through catechism, went through confirmation. I've been Catholic all my life. I was originally ordained as an exorcist through a Christian university, but now I'm back in the Catholic fold. And, you know, like I said, I am who I am. I believe in ghosts and I help a lot of people with their paranormal issues. But it's a fine line. You have to be careful not to fall into that conjuring type of thing, or and as long as you know what you're about and everything is of love and light and faith based, which everything I do in that field is pretty much faith based. I think I'm okay. I think God would tell me if I was doing something I shouldn't be doing. But I like I said, I really I can't explain the feeling I get from helping people. I don't just go out to ghost hunt. There was a time when I did, but um, having said all of that, I don't think I planned on asking you this, and I'm going to jump in front of Annette real quick here. Where are you on all that? I know you wrote a great book, I hear, about ghosts and the paranormal and all that sort of stuff. Where does the soul healer, where does her opinions fall on all of the disembodied human spirits and the demons and all that? Where do you fall on all that?
So pretty much in the same place. I mean, I've done paranormal investigation. I've gone in as the group psychic. I graduated from the Berkeley Psychic Institute. That's one of my credentials. And they had a house healing team that we would go to a person's house. There would be a group of us because they were having issues. This is like long before ghost hunting. And so we would find all kinds of weird stuff, vortexes and this and that, but we're not looking for ghosts. Like sometimes the house was built on, like this one house was built on a former like waste disposal site. And
Wow.
and the energy in the house, and one of their experiences was everything seemed ungrounded. And it's because it wasn't natural soil, it was this landfill stuff, and so and everybody has like what they see, and because it's a whole group of psychics going into this house. So this one guy really liked looking at the property and for anomalies in the property. I was more of a vortex kind of gal, but it would just be really interesting. And then we would offer healing to the property. And so many years later, I was contacted by a paranormal group to go work with them, but I already had this experience of going in houses, looking for anomalies, doing clearings, and it was fun and I liked it. And so it was more about me giving service back versus like me going, oh, let's go to this place because it's haunted. It's like, no, that's okay. The ghost can stay there and I'll just stay here.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool. And that would be an interesting, even for me to tag along with a team of nothing but psychics into a allegedly haunted location to try and help the people that own that location with their paranormal issues. That would be quite interesting. But I'm going to go ahead and let Annette chat with you for a little bit because I know she's got some great questions for you.
Okay.
Well, I actually love this topic. Actually love, and I went to your website and it's beautiful. And I
Thank you.
thought, for opening, just kind of let people know what kind of services you provide, what kind of natural healing and energetic healing and intuitive healing, what kind of modalities of that are involved. And before I start asking you anything specific, because we might get people from the chat room too that have questions. It's a very big, I'm into it a little bit. So there's actually a lot that you could talk about under this umbrella.
Okay. So I joke around and say my day job is working as a medical intuitive. So a medical intuitive is someone who has psychic abilities that talks to you about your health. But I'm a naturopathic physician with a PhD in natural health counseling. And so I combine the two together in helping people. And I firmly believe that, excuse me, if you're manifesting some kind of a physical issue, that there's an emotion or limiting belief tied to it. And so it's, so I don't just sit there and say, here, take these supplements and, call me in the morning. I help them to unwind what's going on inside of them so that they can actually heal from the inside out. But when you do intuitive work, it's intuitive work. And you can I'll talk about just about anything except dead people. I'll go to your house. I'll look at your ghosts. I'll kind of interact with them. I'm not particularly auditory, so they don't talk to me, thank God. And, but I'm not a medium. I don't claim to be a medium. If you ask me about your dead mom, I'm going to say, sorry, I don't do that. So after that, I have worked with people with some of the, I say that my house is the land of weird, because I've worked with people that have alien implants and weird stuff. And I don't really have an issue going wherever I need to go, wherever spirit leads me, that's where I go, even if it's weird.
Well, I love it. I mean, especially if it's weird, because we did have someone on the show that did have an alien implant, and there has to be open-minded people with broad spectrum education and abilities that can help people that are also a little outside the normal box.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like you, that a lot of illnesses have an emotional core. And, I love that about holistic, because you're treating the whole person,
Mm-hmm.
and not just, if your foot hurts, you're okay, go home. I mean, take a pill or whatever, and, everything is not quite just alleviate the symptom, and that means wellness.
Well, and my observation, because I'm not going to say it's my experience, because I'm a pretty healthy person, but my observation is that people go to the doctor and they get blood work done, or even and I hate saying this, a holistic practitioner, and they just kind of play this guessing game based on symptoms.
Right.
But their symptoms might be they're having upset stomach, but the reality is that they have something going on in their liver. And that's the main issue. But where they're noticing the symptoms, which is just kind of sitting on top, is in their stomach. And so working on an intuitive level, you can, in my opinion, do a deeper level assessment and kind of rule things out. And, I have the ability to say, okay, so if we add this in, or add this medication in, or try this herb, what percent benefit is it going to be for you? Because people are taking all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, you're taking it and it's great, but you're only getting a 20% benefit out of it. So do you want to keep taking it, or maybe we need to change it to something else? So you get a whole different kind of perspective versus, well, in this book it said blah blah blah, so that's what we're going to do.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I would think that the people that come to you, there's no gray area. They're either don't believe in doctors and modern medicine, and they're confident that you're going to be able to help them, or they've gone to the doctors and they weren't able to get help, and they're disillusioned with that. So now they're going to try someone with your types of gifts. When I hear you talk about that, I think about some of the people I've met who like practiced a lot of the shamanic practices, and they do like chakra alignments, or they can like lay hands on people, and either some of them claim to even cure the ailment by laying hands on them, or at least laying hands on them and know exactly what was wrong with them. Do you have an opinion on those folks? Do you work much
Mhm.
with people like that, and what's your opinion with that?
Oh, very much so. So I'm just gonna, I mean, I totally believe what you said and that commentary. Um, but I am only the facilitator. I don't heal someone. All I do is create the scenario so that they have the opportunity to let go of the emotion or release whatever is causing it in the first place. So when I hear people say, well, I healed them, it's kind of like I kind of run because they didn't heal them. I am only the conduit for the energy and the information to come through me. It's a little egotistical, in my opinion, to say that and do that. I mean, I've had clients that I would say were miracle people, where I did a session with them and they have these great things happen, but they were ready. They were ready to make the change. Maybe not mentally, but apparently their body was, because it just happened. And then some people, you could work with them forever and nothing happens. It just depends on the person.
Well, this is a little side note, but I'm going to throw it in because it's the right time to say it. My uncle had really bad kidney disease. He had stage 4 kidney disease. And um, we were trying to do research and come up with different things that might help him. And then finally I said, do you believe in God? Do you believe that you could get even 10% better? Do you believe in any of this? He said, no. So if somebody's like that so if you don't believe you can get any better and you don't believe in a divine intervention, I suppose miracle could still happen to you, but it's a lot less likely.
I think a miracle, because there's what we tell ourselves in our brain, and then there's what our body wants, which can be two totally different things. In reverse, I have clients that say, oh no, I'm open to whatever you have to say or do. And nah, their body is not, and so, I mean, we're all different people. We're all individuals. And so some people will respond, and they will use it, and again, it's not a conscious choice, especially when you're doing energy medicine. It really is not a conscious choice on the person's part. And so mentally they might be like, yeah, let's do it. But sometimes, I had one client, I was talking about this the other day, and she really wanted to heal, but her body was. So I'm a very visual person and I work with a lot of tools, and so I've had clients where there's this energy stuck in their body somewhere, and I bring the backhoe in and start hauling it out. I mean, literally in my brain. With her, so we have what's called a grounding cord, which is a line of energy that goes from the base of the spine to the center of the planet. And it's kind of like the grounding from your electrical wire, and it gives us the opportunity to just discharge. So I would just open up her grounding, like just a little teeny bit. And that was all I could do for her. And I would just sit with her and be with her and keep that space with her, because anything more was an overload to her body, even though her soul so wanted to get rid of it, but her body was like, no. Now I'm the backhoe lady. And it was, okay, that's it. That's all you're getting from me today.
So that's interesting. And you're working with energetic pathways.
Yes, very much so.
Do you have any kind of sense of people's aura?
Yeah, I mean, their aura, their chakras, to me, okay, so I'm going to be a little judgmental here. There are people that identify themselves as being medical intuitives, but all they do is look at the aura and the chakras, and to me, I go into the physical body and I'll talk about your liver and I'll talk about your kidneys and I'll talk about, what's going on functional, as well as what's going on subtle energy wise, if that's where I'm being drawn, or emotionally wise. I'll evaluate the meridians in some people if that seems to be where I need to go with them, you know, Father Shawn, I just open it up to God.
Yeah.
I people are like, well, what are you going to do? And it's like, I don't have a format. I just open the session up and I am led through it. And I allow them to say, these are the things, these are my points, these are the things I want to cover, and these are my concerns, and these are this is where my owies are, and I use that to kind of direct it. But between one issue and the next issue, it's kind of, I never know.
But that's the best way too, because, and that's completely the opposite of Western medicine. That's going to go down a checklist, XYZ, and then recommend this thing first. And if that doesn't work, then we're going to go to this thing because you're completely fresh. You're not the healer. Spirit is coming through you, and you're guided to see what you find and hear what they say. And
Hmm.
each person is different. It's not a cookie factory.
Exactly. And I think it's important when you do this kind of work that, and I'm going to say this, and I hope it makes sense, that you have the ability to take your ego and yourself and move it to the side and allow whatever wants to come through to come through. I mean, sometimes I talk to people about things that on a personal level I find distasteful and would never do myself, more in their personal life kind of thing. But that's what they need information on. And I'm not going to sit there and put my judgment in it. I'm just going to give them the answers they're looking for to the best of my ability to put myself to the side. And I'm actually pretty good at that. And I've talked about, again, weird things. But I think it also makes you, when you're able to do that, a clearer conduit for the energy and information to come through.
One of the things that I've been doing a lot for the last few years is like sound frequency healing.
Hmm.
Do you feel like you get good results from that? And also, we had a lady on the show that was doing light healing, different colors.
So I don't do sound frequency healing as part of my practice. I've experienced it, and I actually, um, my dog had died, and this lady that I knew did like tuning forks
Yep.
healing. And so I went and had a session with her, and I was just like in the groove. I mean, as she said, your body vibrated because I was just gone. It was so freaking powerful. Um, and not that I do light therapy because all of my people are over the phone, or virtual, so light therapy doesn't work. Um, I've experienced that. I think it's very powerful. When I will recommend like color therapy, like here you need to go get like a piece of carnelian because you need to bring in that orange vibration into your space, kind of thing.
I have never been. You mentioned, I think you and I are a little psychically connected right now, anyhow, because I was just about to talk to you about the animals, and I don't want to forget them either, because I've been working in the animal care industry most of my adult life, but I can never remember not having an animal. And I just recently um, sent my last mastiff to heaven, and I've made a conscious decision that I'm going to take a break for a while because it's just emotionally it's just too much
Mhm.
for me, and I just want to take a break from the hurt for a while.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned that you'd had a dog, your dog had died. Do you um are you able to also help animals? And second part of the question is, honest to gosh, I get so many people reaching out to me for not for spiritual help, for help with their grieving process, not even over loved ones or friends, but their animals. Um, that must be a big part of your practice also.
It is. And the animal part is interesting because I think there are there are people that sit there and are like, it's just a dog. And it's like, screw you. It's not, it's my baby. It's my baby. What do you mean? Um, and so I can understand where, on some level, it can be more hurtful to lose a pet, you know,
I
than a
think
spouse who's a jerk, you know.
you know, like I lost my dog last year in July suddenly, and he was not the first dog I lost. I'm a dog person, but what people don't understand is that, and it's not that you don't love people. It doesn't mean that, but my dog and I did everything together all day long from the moment we got up. Okay, we had a ritual, we had a routine. Okay, I let you out, then I get coffee, then I feed you, then we go check this and we go do that. And he's all during the day with me, and then most of the time, but not all the time, sleep in my room at night. And he is not the first dog I had that was like that, that had a routine with me all day long. Even though there were other people in the house and they loved the other people, we always knew where I am. And, you know, so that's a big part of your life.
Hmm.
We even had a dog that the dog would get in the minivan every day when we took the kids to school, and, you know, come and tell us when the baby's crying, even though, yes, we can hear that the baby is crying, but thank you very much. And
That's
have to spell around them because they're so in tune and know language so well. We had to spell cookies because you couldn't say cookies in the house.
Yeah.
Just go
See,
absolutely
my dog
crazy.
knew dinner,
Okay.
but I would spell it.
Yeah.
And so she knew that. And all I would have to do is like, it's time for DI. And she'd be like,
Right.
dinner, DI and
Right.
ERS. And she'd
You're
be like,
saying dinner, aren't you? Right. 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 But you know, it's that constant companionship, and your dog is part of your day. And
mm-hmm,
it's not just, you know, you have a dog and you pet it every now and then and give it some food. No, this dog, and, you know, sleep with you in the same room, and usually take their half of the bed out of the middle and all that kind of stuff. So it's the constant companionship. And on a certain level, you really feel like that dog gets you. If nobody else in the whole planet gets you, that dog gets you there
mm-hmm,
and accepts you the way you are.
mm-hmm. I like my fur babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your approach to these people, these broken people that come to you that and they pretty much feel like, you know, all hope is lost because I've just lost my fur baby and yeah, what's your approach to that?
So when people are in and I have to think of the correct word, acute state, they're in the midst of that. Many times I'll offer energy work because that will help calm their system down. I've done a lot of work with people for both themselves. Well, they have an aging parent, and they're having a really hard time because the mom or the dad are in the process of transitioning and they're not dealing with it really well. Um, to help them through that process, to just support them. Because when we're holding on to grief or negative emotions or whatever, those lower vibrating feelings, they just kick our butt. And so when people get energy work done, it helps us to let those go and raise our vibration so that we can think clear and we can be more present and maybe find happiness or joy. And depending on what's going on, sometimes I'll help them to reframe what's going on in the situation. And you don't need to say I'm sorry, but I'm just going to share this story. So I lost my husband, and people were just all really sad. But to me, it was like it was his time, and even though it really sucked losing him. Really, I mean, I finally found like a really great guy, and then he freaking died. But I wasn't going to sit there and hang on to him and make him like go through chemo and go through all of these things to be with me. I was like, if you're using this as an escape to just go on, it's like you need to just you need to do you, and whatever you decide, I'm going to support. So if you don't want to do the chemo, which that was a joke, but then we're not going to do the chemo, and we're going to figure out what our next step is. If you want to do the chemo, I will be there holding your hand every single minute of every single day. And that whole situation ended, and I have zero regret other than he freaking died.
Yeah.
But I don't have any regrets because I know that I did everything that I could to support him and support his transition.
You and I have a lot in common, and here I am still just about. I get these thoughts. There's a weird thing going on here because I get these thoughts, and all of a sudden you start talking about that. And I was going to share a story about my wife, who's a three-time cancer survivor, and it's divine intervention that she's still here. But one of her cancers was squamous cell carcinoma of the tongue. So at one point, her tongue was one solid, I want to say, ping pong ball size tumor. She There was like 4 months where she couldn't even swallow water. She couldn't talk for like 8 months, had to learn how to talk again, but she had a feeding tube in for over a year. But at the height of that, when she was at like the worst of figuring out what we're going to do about the tongue cancer, we had two mastiffs at the time, which were her babies. And this is going to be full circle. We're going to get the animals in here again. The oncologist we were seeing at the time, and we changed doctors, flat out told my wife, "You and your husband are going to have to fly from Vegas to go spend, a few weeks in LA at UCLA, and you're going to have to remove your tongue, and you're going to die." So the first thing my wife writes down on this sticky note, and I used to come home from work every day, and the whole front of the fridge would be nothing but sticky notes because that's all she could do. Um, so now sticky notes are banned from the house, but she wrote on a sticky note there in the doctor's office. Uh, what about my dogs? They weren't sociable. We couldn't board them. We didn't have the money to board them. But I mean, if we took them to a boarding kennel somewhere, they would have definitely thought we had forgotten them and we just gave them away, and they
Hmm.
probably would have just, who knows.
Right.
But he said, I kid you not, he said to her, "Well, you're going to have to just give them away and hope for the best, or dump them off at the pound, or let them just run out your front door and survive, or you're going to have to go to the vet and have them put down."
Mm.
Well, her next note, she said, was, "I'm just going to die. Just let me die." So here you go, full circle, and you get the animals back in there again. The importance of, animals, they get a hold on you, but it's been years. She's survived all of that, um, and but that's what sometimes you got to do. What you got to do, and it's their decision. Um, so yeah, I'm sorry to hear it. You told me not to say that, but I'm sorry to hear about your husband, and I'm only saying that because like I said, Sharon wasn't supposed to survive her three cancers, but divine intervention, she's still here. Um, but it's life, and we just have to. It's just it's part of life. People come to me all the time. Why is this happening to me? Why is God allowing this to happen to me? God never said or life was going to be easy. And sometimes you get a gut punch, and you just, it is what it is. You deal with you play the hand that you're dealt, and you make the best of it. But you got to stay strong in wherever you draw your faith from, whether it be God, or I help a lot of people, believe it or not, that don't believe in God. They just get off on talking to me and getting my opinion on things and bouncing stuff off me. But I'll help anybody that reaches out for help. Do you where, I know this is a weird question, but are you like a woman of faith?
No. How's that? Okay. So I have a wonder. So if I was going to identify, if I had to pick a religion, I would say that I am much more Jewish in my emotional constitution. So I went to Catholic school, went to Catholic school for 8 years, um, had issues with the Catholic faith in second grade. Um, Here, you'll appreciate this story, so I'll share the story. So my mom was Catholic, my dad was Jewish,
There you go.
and but we went to Catholic school. And so in second grade, you're doing all of the sacraments. That was because you're getting communion that year. So we're doing the sacrament, and we're covering baptism. And basically, the line was, if you're not baptized, you're going to go to limbo. Period. Limbo. And I kind of had a little bit of a meltdown in second grade because that meant I would never see my dad, who I loved to death. I mean, he and I got along really good. I would never see my grandmother, who, you know what I mean? It was like, you're just saying that, like, this whole part of the family, you're never going to see again. And I didn't have a good relationship with my mom. And it meant that I would have to spend eternity with my mom, which was a horrendous thought in second grade. And it really pissed me off. I mean, that I didn't have a choice in this whole baptism thing, and you couldn't give it back. Can you give a baptism back? I don't think so. So now I'm stuck with my mom. So I had this like little internal personal schism with the whole thing. But I have a wonderful relationship with God. What else is there? You know what I mean?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I stalked you a little bit for the last couple of weeks before the show. I haven't found anybody that doesn't love you to death who's had any dealings with you. Um, and you have a great show, the one where you give readings. You get your inspiration and your gifts from somewhere, and I'm just gonna, what
From
I'm
God.
gonna say.
I
Yeah, I'm gonna
mean,
say
from
they're
God.
gifts from God's. I'm going to ask you to tell everybody that's watching now, if they're meeting you for the first time here on my show, um, if they're readers and I put your feet to the fire and you had to recommend one of your books to introduce yourself to a reader, or if you had to recommend one of your shows to a person that loves to sit down and watch these types of shows to meet you for the first time and see what you do, which would you recommend?
I mean, my books are kind of all over the place. So I'm going to make a couple of different recommendations,
Sure.
because this is kind of a para show. So one of my books is called Dark Angels, An Insider's Guide to Ghost, Spirits, and Paranormal. And that book has a lot of stories in it, so it'll talk about vortexes and what vortexes are. And then it will share an experience where I went to somewhere and there was a vortex, and so, and I joke around. It's like, I've lived in haunted houses, I do ghost hunting, but don't have that door in the other room slam with the lights off, because it just scares the crap out of me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
because you can see ghosts just as well with the lights on, and so this whole thing is kind of told from that, like, okay, but the lights were on and it's all good. So there's that one. And then there's my new book, which people are freaking loving, which is like, so this is my new book. It's called, let's see if I can get it in the camera. Dang, it was me all along. And it is about really tuning into your inner world and paying attention to what's going on inside so that you can change it from living a life where you're feeling negative to living a life where you're happy. And actually, this is a very appropriate place to share this part, because one of the things that I found in this research, okay, so this research was for me, and then it became a book. Okay, so I'll just preface it that way. Was that the only way that you can really be happy on a regular daily basis is to make a connection with God, to make a connection with the divine, connect with source, whatever word you want to put there. Um, it's the only way, what, and anyway, um, so it's interesting. So I have a number of reviews on or Amazon for this book. And one of the lines that seems to keep repeating in all of the reviews, it's like, oh, it's like you're sitting there having a conversation with her. Or, oh, it's like talking to your next door neighbor. Or it's like talking to a close friend about these topics. And so it's a very conversational book. I just kind of like lay it out there, and it really is in my voice. And so if you want to get to know me, that would be the one that I would read.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool. What about your shows?
So on Thursday night, I do a live stream. It's called Thursday Night Live with Dr. LOUISE. And so basically the show is I will introduce a topic and talk about it for about 15 minutes. And then I open up the chat and people can ask questions. They can get readings. I mean, it's a free for all, except no dead people. Because if you ask about dead people, I'll just click on your thing and go, dead people, no dead people, and then move on. And maybe laugh at them a while.
Well, you've got really cool websites too. I mean, I love soulhealer.com. You've got Applied Energetics Institute.com.
Mm-hmm.
I kept clicking on medical-intuitives.com and I couldn't get anywhere with it. I don't know if it was my computer or if you did away with that page.
No, it's supposed to still be there.
Check after the show, check that out. I was trying to find that one and I couldn't find that one. But what else did I want to say?
Soulhealer.com is like my main portal website.
I went to soulhealer.com. That's where I was looking. I have it open right now in case I wanted to refer to something. A very nice site.
Thank you. I did.
I've got about 5 minutes before I have to kick you out of here. I'm going to let Annette chat with you because I know she's got some questions.
Hey, I would love if she came back and did a show and we had a topic and just started doing feedback and being interactive. We did have quite a few people make comments in the chat room while you were talking. And I was going to ask if you do any work with angels.
No. I mean, because, to me, angels are just another being of a higher vibration. And so maybe I work with them, but I just don't attach that word.
Okay.
Do you like hypnotism?
So I am a certified hypnotherapist.
Really?
But, well, no, I got a caveat. But what I found when doing work with people, was that I am so empathic and empathetic that I would just go right into whatever they were dealing with. And it was hard for me to kind of keep separate and be able to guide the session. And so I determined that it just wasn't a good modality for me to work with, because if you're in the middle of, we do a regression and, you're 6 years old and you're getting beaten and, you have all of this stuff going on and I'm like right there with you with popcorn, watching the whole thing. I can't really be in my adult chair to support you because, I would just get sucked in. So
have you run across anybody or anything that kind of makes you believe that people have had past lives, they've been reincarnated, that they're carrying anything around from a previous lifetime?
So I do past life readings, so I tell people they are for entertainment purposes only. because they're not therapeutic. It's just me taking a look and going, you're showing me this life. And this is what I look for is what lifetimes are you using now? Like I had this one, I was doing an interview and they're like, yeah, like, what about us? Tell us about our past lives. And so I'm talking to this one gentleman. I'm like, you are a Franciscan priest, because he had like the ball patch in the back, and the two other women that were there were like freaking out because apparently he did try to get into the priesthood,
Oh,
but then had dropped out. But he was utilizing that past life in the present time.
I always think it's funny because if you come across people that believe they're reincarnated, they were always somebody really big time famous.
Well,
I
yeah.
was Cleopatra. I was Napoleon. They were never a farmer in the countryside. They were never just an ordinary person. So that makes me think.
But that has more to do with the hypnotist, I think, or they go in with preconceived notions of what they want, versus just going into it. So when I was taking my training, we had to do all of these exercises. And so when I did my past life, was led through the past life regression, you're just going to laugh at me. I was an elephant pooper scooper in India. And I had like these knee pads. And so the king and the procession of elephants would go. And I would be on my knees with like a wicker basket collecting the poop behind them.
That kind of sounds like a producer of Shawn's show.
And I was like, okay, well, I guess I wasn't anything good, but at least that was one past life, people, I think people have multiple past lives, and it's weird, because I see this, and it's very real to me what I see in their energy space. But then on a mental level, there's part of me that's like, doesn't believe it, so I have like a little personal conundrum conflict with the whole thing. But seeing people's past lives, and I've had clients where, and not very many, it used to be back in the day, and I'm sure you guys will appreciate this, that everything was a past life issue. It's like, oh, well, I broke my fingernail because in a past life, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And, but it's changed. Now it's, I have an entity issue and I broke my nail because there's an entity causing this. I have a bad life because I have an entity attachment. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys are killing me here. Like, no, you just have a crappy life.
It's earlier, Annette had mentioned we had somebody on that thinking of weird. I keep thinking that you said you were in the house of weird, but we did have someone that had an implant, and then I'm thinking of an interview I had with a guy that we were talking about faith, who's an abductee, and he said that the first thing the aliens asked him when they abducted him was, "Have you seen God?" So in the couple of minutes I have left, before we got to kick you out of here, you're in the house of weird. Lay on us a weird experience of yours.
So this is the one you were talking about, the implant, and came into my head. And that's usually how I fly. It's like, okay, it's in my head. So this is what I'm going to talk about. And it kind of fits this. So, I've done spirit release work with people. Thus, I have people, oh, I have an entity attachment. And I just like roll my eyes. It's like, yeah, maybe, maybe not. But I had this lady come, and I don't remember what the original complaint was, but it had something to do with an entity. And I look at her space, and she has like these bugs, like dragonflies flying all around. And there was a vortex that came into her auric field on one side and left on the other side. And so she's like, can you fix it? So I'm like catching the bugs and squishing them. But there was a vortex, and so the only way to make it stop was to shut the vortex down, which is a much more complicated thing than you might think. But I'm like, you have these bugs into your space. And she was like, I know, they make me crazy. And I think I kind of weirded her out that I just like saw it boom, there it is.
Hmm.
Very interesting. And that reminds me, Dragonfly. That I don't know if you guys saw that movie, Dragonfly with Kevin Costner. Great movie.
I saw that movie.
Great
Hmm.
movie. Well, this is what I'm going to say to you. I love you and I respect you. I think you're
Thank
super
you.
cool. Did you have fun when you come back?
I would.
Very, very cool. I know Annette would like that too. I know Annette. I didn't even look at my. I have a half a dozen or so questions I didn't even look at. I know Annette still have some, so I will throw some dates at you. Until we see you again, Dr. Louise, Dr. Rita Louise, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll add you to the prayer list and I will pray for you often, okay?
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you
You
so much. It was so
okay,
great to meet you.
You too.
So
we'll see,
everybody find her at soulhealer.com.
we'll
Thank
see
you.
you later, Dr. Louise. Bye bye. Well, Annette, before I kick you out of here,
She is so
anything you
fabulous.
wanted?
She's
I love
so
her. Yeah.
authentic, easy to talk to, very. I really liked, her approach on everything. I love that.
What would you like to tell people about anything going on in your life right now before I kick you out of here?
I've got a new book coming up and I'm really excited about it. And it's Called Into Darkness.
Hmm.
And that is Chris DeFlorio. And he's a retired New York City police officer, and his wife works with him. And she's a retired New York City um, paramedic.
Oh,
And
cool.
they encountered some pretty scary situations, and it
I
changed their
think we
life.
have him coming on as a guest in a month
He
or two.
will be coming on in mid-May. I think it's
Very,
May
very
11th.
cool.
Yeah, very cool. So we're working at a good rate, and that should come out in early April.
All righty. I'm looking forward to that. That sounds great.
Yeah, really, really
All righty.
interesting.
Well, I'm glad I'm back. Glad to see you again and spend this. And
Yeah,
when am I going to see you again? I'm here this coming Monday, but I will see you again
we're
Friday
off
the
for the
12th.
right. We're off for Good Friday.
Correct. And then the following Friday, April 5th, Zach is out of town. So you and I will be back Friday, April 12th. We got Brian Laverty coming back on again. We
Oh,
got
I
more.
love him.
So I will see you then.
Okay, sounds perfect. Father
All right,
Sean,
Annette. I love you.
congratulations again. Love you. Bye.
Okay, I'll see you later. Bye bye. All right, guys. And I will be back here this Monday. Um, for those of you that have never had a free live on air psychic reading, this Monday night, March 25th is the night. Last Monday of the month. You know what that is. It is Happy Medium Monday with the one and only Happy Medium live from Cape Cod. Susan Ahern will be here this Monday. So, like I said, if you've ever wanted a free live on air psychic reading, be here Monday night. So, what else do I want to tell you guys? I want to thank everybody that helped support me to get me to my retreat on St. Patrick's Day weekend. You know who you are. God bless you all for that. You're all on the prayer list, and I pray for you all often. So thank you very much for that. If you're interested in wanting to know something about the church I belong to, go to the website usocc.org or bishopjameslong.com. If you're looking to join a church community where there's no judgment, we welcome everyone. There's the United States Old Catholic Church Clergy and Parishioners Facebook page. You can go there and join that group. And you'll find on the website we have a link there for night prayer, which is every weeknight, and a link for Bible study, which is two days a week. So hope to see you there. Check out Zach's website, communitypayitforward.us. Just go there, be pleasantly surprised. Thank you to Zach and Adrian Clayton for co producing my show. I couldn't do it without them. You can find me now on Facebook as Lawrence Morais, my stage name, because my original profile got hacked and then deactivated. So it is what it is. Eli Roth presents the Legion of Exorcists. If you haven't seen it, and you want to see it, There's so many streaming services that are carrying it now. It's crazy. It just premiered in Asia, Travel Channel Asia, channel 711, and it's doing great over there. So you can find it if you want to see it. You can also buy the episodes on Amazon Prime. Thank you to PACT, little P, capital ACT, Podcasting for All Coming Together channel. Thank you to Things Network. Thank you to Parapost Network Central. Thank you to Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment. And thank you to Spirit Alabama for all those networks simulcasting my show. God bless you for that. I love you all. I don't have a show without all of you. And I pray for all of you often too. So, having said that, you know what time it is? It is bad joke time. I'm going to pull a bad joke that one of you sent in out of this haunted carnival barker hat. And it's my poor attempt to put a smile on everybody's face before I say, have a great weekend. A company is making glass coffins. Whether they're successful remains to be seen. Good night, Danny. Good night, Jack. Good night, Dog. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Big premiere this weekend. Ghostbusters. Frozen Empire should be good. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. I love you all, and God bless you all in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Peace.